Now I would just like to call on a great friend of Billy's and a great Listowel Emmets Supremo, Stephen Stack himself.
Billy and Billy, GA friends and colleagues from Listowel and our career beyond. On behalf of Listowel Emmets, I'd like to welcome Billy Morgan and all the Cork contingent down here. Delighted to have you here this evening for the launch of his book, Rebel Rebel. During the week, Billy, I was talking to a couple of friends of mine, a little bit older than myself now, that would remember when you were in Listowel first, going back to the late 60s and early 70s when you were doing teacher practice here, I think it was in Cosby at the time, that you were living in Listowel. But I know you mentioned in the book Patsy Sullivan was a neighbour of mine actually, and Maura's here helping me to promote the book tonight. But I think that was your earliest connection with Listowel, and I also know that you were, in your spare time, you used to do an awful lot of kicking practice against the ball above inside the sports field. And I know that Ty Moriarty also made sure that he was going up there taking the ball off you when you were kicking because he didn't want any damage done to the ball. But Billy has he's a unique record in the game because it just doesn't happen too often. In 1973 he captained the Cork Seniors to win the All-Ireland, but he also went on to manage very successfully a brilliant Cork side that contested 4 All-Irelands and won 2 very successfully in 89 and 90. You know, when you talk about Billy Morgan, there's a couple of things I suppose that kind of strike you from a distance. The first thing is that he's an unbelievably passionate man about the game. That's a great thing in any person. It doesn't matter whether it's in sport or any other walk of life. He's very, very passionate. He's a tremendous clubman. And I think that's one of the reasons that people are drawn towards Billy Morgan. You know, you talk about Nemo Rangers, fellas down in Cork would know it better as Capwell Road. In your time, Billy, and with the players that you played with down in that club, you know, you built up a huge culture in that club of loyalty, particularly the past players. And I met Jimmy Carrigan and Dinny Allen, Colin Carrigan, Stephen O'Brien, they're here tonight, and many others as well, and many others, the great Kerry players as well that you would have played with and against. And that's something, I suppose, that I know was very, very dear to your own heart, and I know that from talking to Paddy Shea over the years and in terms of things that he would have told me about you. And I think that's something that's very dear to all of us as well. You were a brilliant coach, and you were a fantastic players man always, and that's something any of the Cork players I ever spoke to, they would have always said that about you. And a great tactician, I have to say. I met Breen and Alan, Billy's 2 sons, tonight, and I had met him for a while because we worked together on the bank. And I remember one time we were going on it was a bank game, we were travelling up to, I was in Dublin or someplace anyway, and I asked him out of curiosity, I said, what's Billy like? I said, in the lead up to kind of a Cork Kerry game. And I remember Breen said to me at the time, a big smile on his face, he says, Stephen, he says, you couldn't talk to him for 2 weeks before it, or you couldn't talk to him for the week after it. But apart from that, he was great, he said. My own first experience of coming across Billy when he was in management actually was in 1990, and I'm telling this against myself, but they absolutely hockeyed us below in Cork. They were a brilliant team at the time by 20 points. And it was the famous time, I remember, when it was kind of rumoured afterwards that the Cork supporters had said, Billy, when we were at the 19 point, and Jesus, it wasn't a great day now to say the least, and they were saying, we ever lock the gates and keep the supporters in it, they suffer it right to the finish. The next time I kind of came across him was in 1986 under Paddy Shea, and Paddy said to me afterwards that he went down to Billy's after that game. We won it by 2 points, very, very close, tight game, and he said he had 4 points inside Billy's with Billy after the game, immediately after the game, and he said to me some time afterwards, he said, you know, he said they were the 4 most nervous points I ever had in my life. I spoke, it was the least that I ever spoke, he said, in about a 40-minute conversation, because he said if I put a syllable wrong, he said I was afraid Billy might swing at me. But one thing that strikes you always about Billy Morgan is that, and it's, you know, I was only thinking about this during the week, like what is it that makes him the individual that he is? And the first thing that I kind of thought about was loyalty. And loyalty means everything to Billy. He's hugely loyal to his players, and he's developed great friendships on the back of that over the years, and he has the respect of everybody in the organisation. And I think the fact that there's such a big crowd here tonight is testament to that, and we're delighted to pay tribute to you, Billy. He might be anti-establishment, but there's only one reason for that, because he has a great sense of justice. That's the one thing that always strikes you about Billy Morgan. He's an incredibly principled man with a tremendous sense of justice, and you know, if he feels that somebody is doing it wrong, you know, that doesn't sit well with him, and I think that's just because he's as principled as he is. The last time that myself and Billy Keane were together, which Billy, you remember, was at Moss Keane's book launch down in St. John's. Billy is a great Listowel man, great friend of mine, great friend of everybody here. But I remember we did the launch, and God rest him with Tim Kennedy and Nolan Breeder down there tonight. But I was telling you good lads about Tim when Pat Spillane borrowed his book, I think, which was called Shooting from the Hip at the time. And he was above name and Carroll's, a great friend of his, and a couple of lads around anyway, they were asking him, did he read Pat's book? And he said, Jesus, no, I want. He said, no, about. He said, I'm bringing my own note chart anyway. And they were saying, Jesus, that's very interesting. And he said, what's it called? And he said, he says, I decided to call it From the Horse's Mouth. In conclusion, I'm delighted that Billy Morgan has honoured us to come here and as one of the 3 launches. They had a huge launch. I know that friends of mine were in Cork down in Nemo the other night, and they had a great launch in Dublin and Burlington during the week. And I'm thrilled that Billy is here, and I say this on behalf of everyone in the town and beyond and in North Kerry. And I'm also thrilled for Billy Keane, who's such a great friend of ours and a great GA man as well, a great collaboration. And also I met Dr. Con Murphy. Dr. Con Murphy, lads, has been a great associate of Cork hurling football for a long number of years, and in fairness he has been very good beyond his loyalty to Cork. The only thing I could describe Con as, apart from a great GP, is he's a tremendous psychologist, and he's been very, very good for Cork fellas, and he'll be very good for Kerry fellas over the years as well. So I'm delighted you're here, Con, and also all the colleagues of Billy's that have turned up in such numbers tonight. We're delighted to pay tribute to you. Delighted that you're here with us, Billy, tonight, and we hope that we'll remain together long into the night and we'll enjoy it. And we're just paying tribute to you tonight. A great GA man, an absolutely fantastic GA man, a great club man. And Billy named one of his books, I think the first book, Billy, that you had was The Last of the Heroes. Well, I can tell you Billy Morgan is one of the last of the heroes, and a great man, and we're delighted to welcome you here tonight, and delighted that Billy collaborated, and the very best of luck to you.